This comes like magic sometimes. And all righty, at least you can see my face somewhere. All right, we're on to chapter 3, and today when we're reading into the book, it's all talking about how to go from nothing to something. That's all we've been sharing and trying to relate that to our lives, right? And pretty much, it's a story, our story, right? Pretty much our story, and how. All right, pretty much talking about us from nothing to something. That's all we're trying to get together, trying to relate that to our life, how we can become something. We can go from wherever we are to wherever we need to be, walking in our dream. That's what it is. And so we're in chapter 3, like I said, and the title of chapter 3 is talking about believe in the power of embracing your truth. Last week we talked about the fact that whatever your past is doesn't determine your future. Today we're going to talk about believing in the power, embracing your truth, embracing who you are, all that you are, and not running away from anything. It's pretty much going to attack the devil, the demons in our life, and face them face on, right? Not giving place to any of them. And pretty much is the key quote from that chapter talks about making peace with your broken pieces, right? We all have broken pieces due to our experience of life, right? Things that we know about, don't know about, but we have broken pieces. And what we typically do is take the broken pieces and believe that it can become a masterpiece. And before we can believe that it's a masterpiece, first we have to be at peace with them, to allow God to use our broken pieces to become our masterpiece, right? And pretty much we've emphasized this in the last 2 meetings, talking about our purpose. We're talking about the whole idea of the study becoming something, is becoming all that God has made us to be, become the highest, truest version of ourselves or expression of ourselves that brings forth glory, that brings up happiness, fulfillment in our life, being purpose driven and achieving purpose in life. And as we do that, we're able to give the reward therein also. And pretty much just saying that we should show up, because not everybody shows up, right? Not everybody shows up to life. A lot of people are being beaten by life, and maybe they've made mistakes several times and they're not waking up back, right? The Japanese proverb we typically quote is fall 7, rise up 8. That is, even if you fall, you must always rise more than you fall. Keyword. You must always rise more than you fall, right? So to show up in life, right? And for you to show up in life, you have to be at peace with all the details of your life, you know. And one example that comes to mind for me is, when Obama, President Obama was going to compete for the presidency. He had not even won yet. He made peace with all the truth to his life. So that's one of the power, the strength that propelled him onto presidency. He didn't dissociate from the lineage of his father. He associated with his truth. His truth was that he was born by a Kenyan father and an American mother, right? And he did not run away from that truth. And that's one of the core strengths to his presidency. Same thing for us, for you to let the greatness in you come to forth, to work for you. You must be at peace with every sector of your life. Because any sector of your life that you're not at peace with becomes a demon that will get you when you least expect it, right? So life is about being at peace with every area of our life. That's the only way you can truly allow your greatness can shine forth and work for you. In order places I've been ministering in recent times, you know, and I take that also from a Bible, from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 17. The Bible talks about truth being a belt, a girdle for us, right? It's talking about owning yourself. You have to own yourself. You have to own your soul. You have to own your spirit. You have to own every part of your life. Because if you don't own your life cannot work greatness. Your life will not amount to much. The part that you don't own will always be that chain that holds you back. It will be that chain that keeps you from flying to your utmost height as the eagle. It will be that chain that's keeping you on the ground like a chicken, right? Success in life, greatness in life it requires that you own yourself. You own yourself. You own your spirit. You own your soul. You own your body, right? And that's that popular quote we say in Victor's quote. We say that you are the captain of your soul. Captain of your soul means you own your soul. You are the one directing your soul. Your soul is not directing you. Your soul is not the one leading you. You are the one leading your soul. You have to be the captain of your soul for you to be the master of your fate and your destiny. Because if you are not the captain of your soul, you cannot be the master of your fate and destiny, right? They work hand in hand, right? So if you're going to win in life, you're going to work greatness in your life. Your dreams are going to come to pass, come true. You have to be one that owns every area of your life, which is what we're also talking about here, including every truth of your life, irrespective of whether you are responsible, irresponsible. Everything that happened in your life, you have to take ownership of it because it affects the details of your life. It affects you today and it affects you tomorrow, right? So it's not a matter of running away from demons in your past. It's a matter of staying, looking them in the face and overcoming them, right? Because what you run from persists and becomes bigger. What you address becomes smaller and fizzles out, right? So this is by Jocko. Jocko Willink is a former Navy SEAL, right? And he uses all this training as a Navy SEAL, is being able to bring it into the business world and personal lives also, what we can use that in everyday life to win, right? And he's here talking about that. He's not just talking about ownership, and we'll quickly look at 4 aspects of ownership, you know, that he brings to bear. He says, in the practice of owning everything in your world, right, to an extreme degree, it means that you are responsible not just for the task that you are directly controlled, but for all the other things that affect it, right? And his concept is put together in this diagram here, where you're talking about things that affect your life, the things you do, and the feelings that go with it, right? And in level 1 of being responsible, which all of us are used to, is a fact where you take responsibility for your actions, right? And there is a higher place. So we're talking about emotional intelligence, right? It's more like in level 2 here, where you're not just taking responsibility for your actions, but you're also taking responsibilities for your emotions as well, right? And that's on an individual level. Then you go to level 3, where you begin to also not just take responsibility for your actions, your emotions, but you're also concerned about the emotions of the other person that you are relating with. And level 4 is where you take responsibility for not just your action, your emotions, the emotions of the person you're relating with, but for the actions of the people you are relating with also. Because the key thing is that failure is not an option at the end of the day. You want to make it, you want to win. Therefore, you have to be responsible for every single thing that affects your end result. And here, just talking about also from a psychological standpoint, 4 dimensions that pretty much affect the way we relate to life, the way we will take on life, right? And number 1 is the locus of control. Locus of control just talks about the word locus is center, right? It's saying, where is your control center? Is it internal or external? People that have an internal locus of control are people that believe that they are in charge and responsible for the details of their life. Those that have an external locus of control believe that they are not responsible, right? So winners don't go with an external locus of control. Winners take responsibility details of their life. That's just the last slide that Jacko presents to us. Leaders and those that take ownership are those that have a locus of control. They take ownership of the details of their life and they're able to lead it, direct it in the way they want it to go. They are able to design their life. They are not incidental life, right? And that's the place for winners, is to have an internal locus of control, take responsibility for the details of our lives. The second thing that affects the way we relate, it is what we call neuroticism, which is the quotient or how much control a person does not have over his or her emotions, right? And that goes a long way to affect, determine how we relate in every situation. Can compare those two to the slide we just left, talking about ownership, right? If you don't have control over your emotions, then you're not able to get into level 4 here, right? You're not even able to get to level 3. You probably end up at level 1, level 2, and you're not even able to sustain it, because your emotions, will probably, you don't have a hold of your emotions. Your emotions can do affect your action, right? When your emotions are out of whack, you begin to also act out of whack, right? So that's important. And the third one there is what we call self-efficacy, which is just your belief in yourself, your ability to handle the details of your life, right? It's the ability, the belief that you can handle the details of your life. And the last one is self-esteem, which is an estimation of how much worth you give to yourself. I mean, those 4 things affect the way we respond to life, right? If those 4 things are not in the proper position, then we'll not be able to win in the issues of our life. We need to be able to we need to gain mastery in all 4 to be able to win in life and respond adequately and be able to own the details of our lives. And all of that goes on to be able to send a message to our subconscious mind, right? Our subconscious mind is pretty much the army of our life. I guess the subconscious mind works 24/7 and is the soldier of our life. So that's where we send messaging and goes all out to bring whatever message we've given to it to bring it to pass. It's actually the miracle working power in our life. They are the foot soldiers that bring to pass all the things that we desire, that we want. They are our messengers. So it's all a function of whatever messaging we're giving to the subconscious mind that it will bring to us back in return. Subconscious mind is a dummy. It's so powerful, but it's a dummy. It will do exactly what you send it to do without asking questions. So it's up to us to be able to know how to key program our subconscious mind right so that it can do things for us to make us win. And pretty much the subconscious, our lives are divided into 3 days, right? Yesterday, now, and tomorrow. We're most powerful living in the now, the today of our life. Today is the day of salvation. Our power is found in the now, right? We cannot live in our yesterday because yesterday is gone. We cannot live in our tomorrow. Tomorrow is yet to come. And this same way in the mind works. When the mind is working appropriately, there are 3 sections in the brain that's coordinating things. As soon as you see anything, your brain quickly sends a message to your history and say, how does this thing relate? Have we seen it before? What is the appropriate response for it based on our history, our storage, or the data we have, right? Then that part of the brain quickly returns. So if you see this, do this, right? Gives us the action to take. And then we take that action immediately, right? So this all happens so fast that you don't know that this is happening, but there is a constant communication in the brain from what I see and the action to take, right? When this does not work in the normal speed that is supposed to work, then we say somebody is mentally sick, right? Mental sickness is when the brain is not working as it's supposed to work, right? So if there's a delay in those responses and someone is said to be mentally sick, right? He's not getting the right output from his mind. And the things that cause things like that are depression. Depression typically it's something that looks into the past and is worrying over something that's happened before in the past. And we'll begin to talk about what we call depressive disorder, right? We also have those that are related to the future. We call those anxiety disorder. But all of those are pretty much mental sickness, when the brain is not, or mind is not allowed to work in the way it's designed to work, right? And we can solve all of that if we can live our lives in the now, not be worried about yesterday, not having no regrets, and not to be held bound also by tomorrow, which might never come, right? So we don't want to have regrets, no anxiety. That's the perfect way to live in power and be able to win in the details of our lives. And even the things are always happening around us, but it's up to us to make sure that it doesn't happen to us or in us. Because the things that affect our life are the things that we assimilate, we take personally, right? It doesn't matter what's happening around us, for as long as we don't take it in, we're okay. But we're going to take it in. We have to be careful. We're not taking the negatives in. That is a positive we're taking in, because whatever we take in, positive or negative, will affect our life. Positive will help us. Negative will draw us down, right? And here is just talking about as we relate and live, embrace our truth. You know, it's just quoting here Andrew French, right? It's pretty much talking about that you need to embrace the details of your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And what that means is that to be open to possibilities, right? To be open to what God has for you, believe the best, that even in the seeming chaos, even in the seeming misnomers, they have not necessarily happened to you, but they have happened for you. There's a greater good that is being worked and can be worked from every details of your life. Everything that has happened to you is left you, if nothing else, with an experience, right? And that experience is important for you in fulfilling purpose, destiny of your life. So being able to embrace our truth is pretty much being open to possibilities, opportunities, trusting that God is for us and not against us. That God is able to use every single thing that's happened to us for our good. You know, so I was pretty much believing that impossibility is pretty much being optimistic and not pessimistic, right? And Bob Meglin, you know, gives us 12 reasons to embrace chaos and to be able to move forward in our life. And we're going to end on this note. And it says, accepting chaos of life is better than trying to fight it, right? Problem with fighting it, anything that you fight will persist, it will stay longer, it will get bigger. Anything that you make friends with, you become at peace with, becomes smaller and it fizzles out, right? So for as long as you're struggling with any detail, any truth in your life, you're still holding on. Oh, you know that happened to me. It did happen to me. Oh, why did it happen to me? God is this, that. It's only going to get bigger and become an hindrance in your life, right? The key thing is that's happened. There's no crying over spilled milk. It's happened. It's happened. You need to move on with your life and trust that there's something you've learned from whatever that is that will be able to help your life, make your life better, right? There is power in every incident, every event. Nothing happens by chance. Even what we call incidents, there's a good that they can work out. In number 2, it says that you cannot predict the future. That's true. None of us can predict the future. We can plan the future. We can design the future, but there's still a G factor. It's called the God factor. It's called the grace factor, right? We don't know what might happen. Do all your plans, maybe war breaks out, you know. But life calls from us is to do our best, then we'll leave the rest to God, right? We don't want to overanalyze, right? It's we do what we can do and leave the rest, trust God for the best. Third one says that you will feel better doing than not doing. I mean, the way to overcome fear is not by not doing anything. It's by doing all that you can do, right? The way to move ahead in life is doing all that you can do. There's never a point where there's nothing you can do. There's always something you can do, no matter how small, no matter how insignificant. You're expected to do that little. Because until you do that little, the much that God will have do for you will not get done. Remember, it's draw near to God and it will draw near to you. So you do your part and trust God for the others that you don't know to come to pass, right? And 4 it talks about one thing leads to the other. Obviously, as long as you're doing the things you can do, more doors will be open unto you, new doors will be open unto you to even do other and bigger things, right? You need to understand that everything you do is influencing the other details of your life. So you do your best and God will take over the rest. And number 5 there says you will become a better person, right? The more you do your part, you gain strength, you gain knowledge, you gain agility, you gain experience, and you become better at whatever it is that you're doing. And you also gain resilience if you don't allow life to beat you down. Remember that saying goes that if your strength fails in the day of adversity, your strength is small. But if you're able to win over adversity, you gain resilience, which becomes a strength in your life. All right. Then number 7 here talks about we're meant for bigger things. So we have to go beyond the small things to go to the bigger things of our life. And he talks about chaos, forces us to clarify what's finally important and what's not. In a time of peace, it's like everything is important, But in the place of chaos, the things that are important and things that are not important. You're able to, as the word, sieve off the things that are becoming hindrances and distracting the greater good in your life. Also, you're able to begin to think, you're able to be grateful to God for even being alive, right? Crisis is not a place to be ungrateful, because the more you look at the darkness, the deeper you go, you sink in that depression. But you need to be able to see the good, even no matter how small they are, because that's what's going to help you move on to the next level of your life, right? Because a lot of dead people wish they were alive to go through the trouble you're going through, right? But you are alive, and that's something to be grateful for. As long as like scripture says, a dog that's alive is better than a dead lion, right? Because you're alive, and chaos can be transformational, transformative, right? God changes us, builds us through the troubles we go through, and things have a way of working out in the end. It might not appear so, but if you stay till the end, you will get the prize. And going with the flow is a lot of fun. When you embrace life and you find your flow, you find your dance, you see that life begins to answer to you. All right, that's about when my time is done. So thanks for staying with me